Welcome to the Realty Plus Real Talk series, where we talk to industry experts to know their honest views and opinions and real facts and figures. And today we have with us Mr. Manoj Namburu, Chairman and Managing Director, Alliance Group and Urbanrise. He brings with him more than 3 decades of professional experience, having worked in USA for 10 years as the CEO of Magma Consulting based in California prior to founding the Alliance Group in India. Mr. Namburu, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sapna. I appreciate giving that intro. Thank you so much.
Mr. Namburu, as I just mentioned, you were in California heading a consulting firm and then establishing a real estate company in India. So what was the idea behind it? How did that happen?
Well, firstly, my move back to India, Sapna, was more to do with wanting to be back in homeland and be closer to parents and take care of them. And I've had given almost 12, 13 years to IT, and I have no inclination of interest of starting another IT firm back in India, and hence was interested in real estate because my office in the Bay Area, the Silicon Valley, used to be in a business park called as Bishop Ranch Business Park. And I've traveled across the world, and thus far I have not yet come across a business park of that quality, that standards. It was 640 acres of business park. And I used to always wonder why only such business parks in the US, why not elsewhere, why not in India, now that the IT is doing well in India, why not we develop something like that? And then it so happened that once I moved to India, I started looking for IT park spaces in Bangalore. And then there dawned a reality that number one, land being very inexpensive in US, the developers had the luxury of doing all those, low density developments, like what I was talking about, the Bishop Ranch Business Park having multiple man-made lakes, multiple, mini zoos within the business park, etc. And it is difficult to make the numbers a reality. And while that whole thing was going on, there was this parcel of land that we have acquired, about 22 acres, 23 acres in size. And that was most suitable for IT because of its location. Sorry, it was most suitable for villa development. And hence our journey started into the real estate space when we entered in the housing market. And that's where we kind of started growing and developing the brand. And we have very less exposure to IT, although we have some commercial IT spaces in Chennai. Our exposure is less, and majority of our portfolio is into housing space. So that's how I transitioned from the IT to the real brick and mortar space.
That's fantastic. Good news for real estate industry, I must say. But how was the initial journey? Because real estate is a capital intensive industry. So in terms of initial funds, how did you manage that? How did you come up with that in your initial journey?
Well, the lands, fortunately, when we started, there was the early stage of boom, and the land prices were at a reasonable end those days. And it so happened that this 23 acres of land that I'm talking about, we found was the most suitable and very close to ITPL, the IT hub of Bangalore. And we have self-funded the land, and we've started developing the project. Today, we are developing about 52 million square feet of projects between Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. And that kind of volumes we will not be able to develop without having strong backing from financial institutions. And the ADIA, or rather Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which is the world's largest sovereign fund, has been a serial investor in most of the projects. Now, what I have learned, Sapna, is generally financial institutions in India if they fund one developer, they generally shy from funding the second project because there'll be a lot of issues in real estate, particularly when it comes with the transparency matters and various other things. So, barring a few brands, 4 or 5 brands in the country, the same financial institution coming back and funding the same developer is not a common thing. So whereas, fortunately for us, because of our financial discipline, companies like ADIA and many other marquee financial institutions have been funding us, and that's how we fund our projects. And today, all of our projects, we develop them ourselves. There is no contractors involved in it. The company has its own contracting, execution team. All the equipment is owned by the company, whether be it cranes or heavy equipment like excavators, JCBs, etc. The batching plants within the projects are also our own. We produce our own concrete to ensure the quality of the mix.
Okay,
That's
that's
how
fantastic. Yeah, yeah,
our
that's
company has.
interesting. But you mentioned about Ida. We'll come back to that. But before that, I just wanted to check. Coming from US, was it like a culture shock? Real estate is known as a unorganized sector in India. So, was it a culture shock, and it was difficult to become part of it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're right in asking that. It was a cultural shock, and I took about an year's time convincing my colleagues to call me Manoj and not Sir. But I gave up after a year, saying no, nobody is willing to listen to me except very few senior colleagues who are willing to. So such was the challenges. But yes. Moving from an IT software related industry into a hardcore brick and mortar industry was quite a challenge. But the good part is we are quick to change, quick to learn, and quick to adapt, and that helped us change.
Okay, that's right. You mentioned about Ida, how they have been a serial investor in Alliance Group, and in fact, initially I was mentioning during COVID, Ida and Kotak Realty Fund, when liquidity and cash flow was a big problem for all the developers during COVID, or most of the developers. Alliance Group not only got the funding from these investors, but also you managed to prepay the loan during that similar time, much ahead of the prepayment duration. So in terms of financial stability, transparency, how did you do that? How was that possible?
I will kind of break your question perhaps into two. One is related to you know um, the financial stability, and second one's I will break it into how we were able to cope up with the times, etc. So the first thing, if we talk about financial stability side, Sapna, organization is a collection of its board of directors, its management, its leaders, and its team. And our entire board is very homogeneous in thinking when it comes to being a financially disciplined organization. Meaning, that's kind of in our DNA. We are very frugal while running our organization. Meaning, if you come to the Chennai office where I sit in the third floor. The lifts, the elevators are turned off. We're a 4-story building, and for all the 4 stores, while there are elevators, we don't turn them on till 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock is when the customers start coming. We turn on the elevators for the customers. And whereas we encourage our team, hey, it's good for us health-wise. If we walk up the stairs, it's cardio. Two, it's also environmentally being environmentally sensitive I mean, we will encourage sustainability. From there to people, sitting in a cabin, moving out for a couple of minutes, also turn off the lights, turn off the air conditioning. We always use one side used paper. If we stack up one side used paper to use it for internal. All these small things make up the culture of the organization, and thus we maintain our operations, run our operations in a very frugal manner. But and no wonder the financial organization turned back to us again and again, because anytime when there is a market situation also, we are already prepared. We are not one of those spendthrifts irresponsibly spending money. We're disciplined, and hence good day bad day we will be able to make our payments. That is why financial institutions come back to us. And what I have noticed, Sapna, in this real estate industry is many a times we have noticed that developers celebrate when they get a new loan disbursed. 200 crores, 300 crores, 500 crores. A new loan is taken on a new project. They celebrate. Wow, we received a wonderful funding from a financial organization. They celebrate. But we are a kind of a different breed of an organization. We don't celebrate when a loan is disbursed, but we rather wait for celebrating when a loan is cleared off ahead of loan tenure. If the loan tenure is 60 months, and if we clear it off in 24, 36 months, that is when we say, yes, good job, well done, team. Good to cut a cake and celebrate for ourselves for our being financially disciplined. And no wonder why the world's largest sovereign fund like ADIA finds us as a good partner and keeps investing serially in our projects. We don't have to go running pillar to post asking for, would you like to fund our project? There are financial institutions which are willing to cut the check for us because of our track record over the last 20 years. How be it in 2008 recession, right from there till date, there was not a single payment missed, and that is a track record we have built for the organization. And the second thing I would like to address to your question is, how do we
part of it?
Yeah, more from the other aspect. When there is when there are challenges, how we end up doing making the payments ahead of time. Perhaps Uday shared, he texted me saying one of the articles he shared with you. See, we believe that change is the only constant, Sapna, and anytime there is a adversity in the market or a huge change that happens in the market, for example, a RERA bill was introduced. All developers were crying foul, saying, "Hey, this can't be happening. The government is up to break the real estate industry." Whereas, as an organization, we were looking at, wow, RERA bill is here. Okay, let us at least become the first to get our project certified on RERA bill. Let our project be the first in each of the cities that we are present to get the RERA number. That's a memory we can keep. That's something that we will proudly speak to our customers. I also remember back in 2008, during the deep global recession, or rather the meltdown, everybody was gone into, all developers went into a deep freezer mode, and here we are as a board, we were sitting and talking, how can we become a zero debt organization? We are a small organization then, and we had about 430 crores of loans, and then we were strategizing, how can we become a zero debt company? People would rather laugh off, saying, hey, talk about how can we survive? What about paying 430 crores loans? That's the kind of attitude we wear. During every adversity, we try to find opportunities, not just wait for the adversity to pass, but we say, hey, there is an adversity coming our way. There should be opportunities in the adversity too. During the COVID of all the recent the first 100 days of lockdown, Sapna, I'm part of the Credai Chennai, Credai Hyderabad, different Credai groups, WhatsApp groups, where all the managing directors are, and the Trida groups, it's surprising to find that most of the developers were posting. Today, I have baked this cake along with my daughter. They used to share an image. I cooked this pasta. Today, I did 70 laps in my lap pool. These were the conversations that were happening. I'm learning to play guitar, while sitting idle at home. Whereas we were hitting hard and we were trying to sell, and during that subsequent 100 days of lockdown, we did about 407 net sales and also did 91 crores of collections. That is the attitude we wear. When there is an adversity, there should also be an opportunity. So
That's right. I
it's
think,
like,
the key takeaways for our audience here is one is attitude. In terms of challenge, there is an opportunity, as you said, there are challenges. How you face it, what is your attitude during that time is what makes the difference. Then the small things, as you mentioned, right from, small things of frugality, what you mentioned, so that matter, they turn into big things. And then having teeth in the game, like you said, everything you're doing in-house. So even, outsiders have that confidence in you that the company is managing all the operations and construction by itself. I think that are some of the very unique aspects of the company, and which makes it stand apart, I believe, and for the audience, I think that is the key learning from our conversation today. um, uh, you mentioned about 2008, how the challenging time that was. The COVID was another, big challenging time for developers. A lot of people are saying, although we are now almost out of COVID, things are getting back to normal, but a lot of things again have changed in terms of the tax regime. Things are changing in terms of RBI repo rate hike. Now people feel that in the short term, buyer sentiments will be, will dampen. How do you see today's scenario? Do you see it challenging? What is your strategy for these changing times? How do you see that?
the best way to answer your question, Sapna, is you take. We have been reading a lot about how the economy has done right from our independence over the last 75 years. No, one thing, if you notice, the change has been the only constant. It has been a changing situation. It changes every day, and only those who realize that change is the only constant will continue doing well. They are not perturbed or concerned when there is a new regime comes in, taxes increased or material construction costs increase. You got to adapt to those changes. You got to make sure you balance your act, whatever is the related subject of the change that is happening in the market, and keep moving forward. And in respect to a specific question such as raw material prices increasing, we looked at innovative methods of procuring raw material. We decided to purchase materials from out of the country. So such is it's more of an attitude. I would rather believe that it's an attitude to realize that change is the only constant. You have to live with it. You have to adapt to it, and you keep your chin up and keep working towards it. And I think all will be fine. And we also believe in the fact that during any bad time or adversities, Sapna, all the players generally have an attitude of giving up and going into a freeze mode. So basically, the road will be clear, and those 0.000001 percentage of companies which have a different kind of an attitude to fight it out will be on the road. The road is clear because the 99.9999999% of the companies are kind of in a slumber mode or a freeze mode. So you can drive much faster during such time. So it's all the attitude of an organization, what they wear and how they believe they should drive.
That's right. As you said, change is the only constant, and obviously the scenarios will keep changing. That things will keep changing, and it is how prepared the organization is to face the challenge. And as you mentioned, the attitude. Do you have the right attitude to probably get into the faster gear during this time? So fantastic. I think in terms of now, you spoke about how you have been managing, all these during these challenging times, and how the company has been doing in terms of its projects, its finances. What are the future expansion plans? Are there going to be geographical expansion in other cities? Are you looking at a lot of major real estate firms are now, launching their own IPOs? Do you have an IPO in the future coming up? So, what are the future growth plans for the company?
Sapna, this year we are bringing 2.5 crore square feet of new projects into market. That's 25 million square feet. And next year next financial year, we're targeting about 35 million square feet. And the following year, increasing it to 40 million square feet, which obviously means, say, with that kind of volumes and being only in 3 cities may be very difficult. And hence we are looking at expansion geographically, and Pune is one market that we are identifying. That said, we are not shy of going out of the country either. We have something on the table that we are evaluating outside the country also as we speak. And coming to the IPO plan, yes, it's on the cards and we are working on it. Actually, we are consolidating the balance sheets and working on it. We have hired external consultants, and we may go with an IPO sometime between 23 and 25, while we'll wait for a positive time and then take a call between 23 and 25.
Okay, fantastic. All the best wishes for those future plans of IPO and going international. In terms of India, which are the cities now? Pune, you mentioned that you are looking at now, making the presence. Which are the other cities where Alliance Group, Urbanrise are there, and any new project launches that you might like to, talk about in these cities?
No, we are currently operating in Bangalore, the so-called golden triangle, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. And there are many projects lined up for launches in Bangalore and Hyderabad. And apart from that, we are also looking at land parcels in Coimbatore, and Pune is up next for our organizations.
Okay, fantastic. You mentioned a lot of valuable learnings for us in your conversation about attitude, about how one should not get carried away if one gets funding, and how maintaining that attitude of running your company with financial discipline is very important. So before we let you go, any word of advice for the real estate industry, your peers, those who are now probably making a new start in real estate industry, anything that you would like to share with the industry fraternity?
Mm-hmm. Only thing I would think about is, while seeing many other organizations part of CREDA, etc., a lot of not all of them, many of them think very short term. So I think I would, if I were to advise any of my friends in real estate, I only ask them, hey, think long term, don't think short term. Otherwise, there is no much advice from my side.
Okay, so one should have a long-term vision, and one should when you start looking long-term, I think you start working that way, unconsciously or consciously. For our home buyers, because a lot of things, as we mentioned, things are changing, in terms of price, in terms of economy, in terms of the home loan interest rates. What is your advice for the home buyers?
One thing I can share, Sapna, is I work very closely with my sales marketing teams, very, very closely, in fact, and I even go to the extent of training my frontline teams, because I happen to be a trained trainer. Customers come to the projects marketing office, and they ask several intelligent questions about the product, the specifications, the UDS, and various things. The pricing. They compare the pricing with the other developers. All those things are great, but then we don't find even a 1 out of 100 customers asking, "Hey, who is backing you financially?" If the customers were asking that, and if they see the quality of financial institutions backing a particular organization, they can that speaks volumes. A good financial institution, before funding a developer, they do months of due diligence. They go into our data, deep dive, do analytics, and they identify even a small full stop and a comma if there are errors anywhere, particularly when you're going with the big marquee bands such as Adia, Kotak. They're very sticklers to discipline and details. So when they have done so much of work, you can do is ask who is backing you. So look at the institution behind, and you don't really have to worry about asking any other questions. If someone so disciplined is backing this project, then this is the project I should be in. So they would have done all the checks and balances for the project.
Okay, very valuable advice from Mr. Manoj Namburu. For the buyers, always check the financial backing of the company, because that will give you an idea how strong that company is. The due diligence has already been done, and if it's a strong financial institution backing the real estate firm, I think the confidence of home buyers would definitely will be there. So very valuable advice from Mr. Manoj for our home buyers. Mr. Namburu, it was a wonderful conversation. I think we touched upon some very important aspects, especially about the financial aspect of real estate industry, where things are not going right and how things should be done ideally. So thanks for sharing your views as leader of one of the most financially disciplined real estate firm, if I'm to say. So thank you so much for being here with us, sharing your views and sharing that wonderful advice for the real estate fraternity and for our home buyers today on this show. Thank you so much for being with Realty Plus.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you so
much.
Thank
you, Mr. Manoj, for sharing your time. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.